gun, people. For those that want to say hi to Smokey. Smokey watch. Hi, Smokey. It's like, dude, I'm sleeping. There goes little Batman ears. Let's talk about the CHP. What I call the CHP Rapists and the Lucifer effect. I've talked about the Lucifer effect before. There's a good book out there about people wear masks and they perform into the jobs they do. And the Lucifer effect would be the people that were killing people during the Holocaust. In their mind, it was okay because they were following orders. I also talk about the Milgram experiment, where just because somebody's in charge and they tell you something, even though it's against your best interest and your knowledge to know it's wrong, you will still do it if somebody's in charge. So the CHP, and I think a lot of law enforcement has this problem, your agencies that get in, I mean the FBI has it too, LAPD, any of your larger so-called elite, special great police agencies, they have this air about them that our reputation, our badge, and our pride is more important than doing the right thing and stopping evil among other officers. And I think there's a little bit of that in almost all police because it's in government. I think it's in religion. It's in clubs. When you have these groups, the Masons or the Elks or whatever, when you're in a little club or group, they tend to protect their own. It just happens. The problem is with government and power and cops and judges and lawyers where they have the ability to take things away from people and take away people's lives and kill them and put them in prison and take away their freedoms, it becomes much more egregious. So the California rapists or rapers in California Highway Patrol is pretty prevalent. I mean, there's probably a lot in here that I don't know. If you just Google CHP Rapists, you'll get this one case coming up. I'm surprised nobody has made a Wikipedia page on this guy. If somebody knows how to do that and create a new page on this Officer George Gwaltney, Gwaltney, I think there ought to be a Wikipedia page about this rapist because it was a pretty interesting case. I'll also put a link. The FBI Files, I think, did a copy on it, and when I was searching for this, a YouTube video came up. So I'll put that link in the description, so read the description. So let me get a couple other cases before I get to Gwaltney. In 1986, Sergeant of the CHP James Pitsor, P-I-T-S-O-R, 27 years with CHP, offered a ride to a girl that leaving a bar in Barstow, raped her, and wasn't convicted because he ended up blowing his head off after he was arrested and let out or whatever. So another CHP sergeant, 27 years. And again, people are like, well, you know, these politicians who have been here for 30 years, they're crystal clean. Look, time in a position doesn't matter. Time and power is never a good thing. It usually only creates corruption and bad. I don't like lifelong people in power. It isn't a good thing. So I'm going to try to stay focused on CHP here because there's three cases here. So CHP, very big into their ego. When you go through their academy, you can't be a CHP by going through another police academy. They make you go through their own academy. And then their academy, they only take young kids. They don't take cops from other agencies. And in their academy, they humiliate you and tell you how great, and every day you have to march around and they have all the little badges of all the CHP guys killed, and you have to polish them and clean them every, I don't know, once a week or whatever. I don't know how they do it now, but it used to be a big ritual to, again, this programming of the mind. If you're one of us, if you're a CHP, you're above everybody. We're the special. We're the greatest. We can do no wrong. You always take care of another CHP. You always back them up. We're in a brotherhood. You would never turn somebody in a CHP. You would never say anybody does something wrong because the whole agency will come down on you because you broke our brotherhood rule. So, and again, a guy's sergeant, 27 years, raping women, and you're telling me nobody knew? Nobody had any clues? This is the first time he did it and he got caught. Remember I talked about that. Nobody ever gets caught first time they commit a crime. So then, in 2013, the assistant chief of the CHP, Kyle, I don't know his last name, he was arrested for helping having his son, who was raping somebody, he helped hide him and get him and use his position to get him out of the country down to Mexico. Another sergeant, or this assistant chief in a CHP. CHP, like all government, has huge levels. There's I don't know if they have corporals, they got FTOs, they got regular officers, then they got sergeants, then they got lieutenants, then they got captains, then they got division chiefs and deputy chiefs and assistant chief, and then the head CHP guy, and he's got 2 deputy head CHP guys. So the hierarchy and bureaucracy of CHP is huge. And when I worked with CHP, I was working out of Valley Division, and that's out of Sacramento area. My call sign was Valley 355. You chippies will be looking that up. Who is this guy talking shit about us? So anyway, Officer George Gwaltney, serving 90 years federal time for raping and killing a girl. So what this officer did is he was raping, I think he raped like 5 or 6 women. This is the only one I think he got convicted of. I could be wrong, but I thought there was multiple rapes that he did. And there was a big thing about women at that time. Don't pull over CHP unless you're in a lighted area. CHP was told when you light them up, you gotta let them drive. They didn't have to pull over immediately because they had such a reputation of freaking weasels that they hire, that they program. CHP never looks to me for good candidates. They look for good robots. They look for people who can't think, who will only buy into their ideology. That we're great, even though all we do is write tickets and do traffic accidents. We're the greatest police force ever. The FBI is below us. Everyone's below us because we're the California. We had a TV show about us. Yeehaw! So CHP has this big inflated ego, which really I think creates a lot of problems. Anytime you get big government, you have that issue. You lose localized control. If each CHP office worked for the sheriff or county in their area, you wouldn't have that. But they don't want to give it that power. You got to have a huge bureaucracy. So this guy's out raping all these women, and they couldn't convict him. They caught him, and the way he got caught, he ended up killing this last rape victim because a sheriff's deputy, go figure, drove by, saw him with a woman on the side of the road, flashed the light, and kept driving. Why didn't he stop? Why didn't he help him? All the CHP's probably like, I don't need your help unless we call for you. We don't need you. We can handle our own stuff. That's their ego attitude, and it was especially back in the 80s. Maybe a little bit different now that people are getting killed a lot, but when now would you see an officer on the side of the road at night on a car stop and have another officer just drive by and not stop? It usually wouldn't happen, but it did happen here. And nobody asked why it happened. But anyway, the cop just drove by and kind of flashed his light on him, said, it's CHP, he's writing a freaking ticket, let me go out and do real police work. So he kept driving. Well, the officer panicked, knew that he had saw him with this girl, so he pulls out a gun and shoots her in the back of the head. Well, when he kills her, of course, he's interfering with the investigation, he's running around. He was Officer of the Year. Gee! The CHP picks the CHP Rapist as Officer of the Year. So he was Officer of the Year, so everybody was like, can't be this guy. He's one of us. He's a brother. We can't look at him. And because the investigation was led that way, he was able to manipulate evidence, hide things. He took his gun home that he killed her with, grabbed the barrel with pliers and grips, twisted the barrel off, and tried to get a new barrel because he knew the bullet would be tracked back to the barrel. So he got rid of his barrel. Well, they ended up finding the barrel, and they found the frame, and they matched the tool marks that he used with tools in his place to finally get a conviction. But that was after 2 mistrials. Now remember, a mistrial doesn't mean a guy's innocent. It means a jury can't agree. It means some people, I think the first mistrial was like 8 guilty and 4 not guilty, and the next that was like 7 not guilty or 4 guilty. So there was a split in the 2 trials. They could not convict this guy. Why? Because he was CHP, and he had all these people testifying what a great guy he was, and everybody came to his defense. And you know what? The evidence wasn't there, and he even took the stand. Very rare for a guilty guy to take the stand and still get off. But he took the stand and lied and made up all these rules and everything. So after 2 trials, the judge said, look, this is getting harassment. You've tried twice. Leave this guy alone. You're not filing again. So the judge pretty much gave him an acquittal. Remember, an acquittal is all jury members say the guy's not guilty, the government can't come after him again. Double jeopardy. Well, what the judge did in this is after they tried him second and couldn't get it the second time, the judge said, you know what, I'm acquitting him, you can't try him again. So now they couldn't charge, the guy was going to walk. Well, like government does, backdoor deals, the sheriff, somebody, I'm sure it wasn't the CHP, the FBI got involved, came in and said, you know what, we're going to try him for violation of civil rights. Never before has a cop been charged with violating civil rights for a crime like this. This was the first time. And the feds charged him with kidnapping and a few other things. They caught him lying. One of the lies was the bullet he used was an illegal bullet. I don't know if it was illegal for CHP. I don't think it had to be illegal for them. But he had a box of shells. I think it was silver tips Winchester. And he said he didn't carry them on duty and he didn't use that type of ammo after they targeted him. And they believed him, the jury believed him, blah, blah. Well, when the feds and everybody started looking at his case, they noticed a picture in his trunk with a box of that ammo in his trunk. So they went, you lied. So now they got him in one lie. In the federal trial, interesting, he did not take the stand. He was found guilty. Now somebody say, oh, he should have took the stand. They had him in too many lies. Remember, every time you give a statement to law enforcement, they can use that statement to make it look like you're lying. So each and every statement, if you change, even by accident, little things, that can go later to prove that you were lying, and then you can't even testify or they'll bring up all these so-called lies. So anyway, he did not take the stand in the federal trial. He was found guilty. He was given 90 years, but I just found it very odd that 2 jurors could not convict a guy, and you still had CHP officers testifying on this guy's behalf on what a great guy he was, because he's one of us, because he wears the CHP patch, and we're the best law enforcement agency in the land, and we're the only one that believes it, but it must be true because we believe it, and you're programmed to believe it, and they're a high-stress academy, otherwise you get kicked out, and they say, we have a really tough academy, and we have a lot of washout rate. Really? You're teaching freaking how to write tickets and how to do traffic investigation. How damn hard can it be? All right, anyway, so CHP Rapists, they're around a lot. Smokey, what do you think about that? Whatever, Dad. We'll end that there.